What's up everyone, it's TheRazoredEdge and welcome to Gears 5 on Xbox Series X. Special thank you to Microsoft and Xbox for providing me with an early Xbox Series X console so I can bring you guys all the latest and new additions to Gears 5 here on Xbox Series X. That was a lot of saying Xbox Series X, wasn't it? So if you guys would go ahead and drop a like on the video to help support the content, that would be greatly appreciated. But I think my perspective is going to be quite interesting because in the past couple of years, I have moved to primarily PC gaming, mainly because, you know, Gears of War games are now available on PC. And that's just something I personally wanted to do. You know, stuff like high refresh rate gaming, low latency, that kind of stuff. All those buzzwords are stuff that attracted me to PC gaming. Now, what's interesting is that those buzzwords are now in the conversation when it comes to Xbox Series X. You have the option to play multiplayer at 120 FPS if you have a 120 Hz monitor, but you'll still feel the effects of, you know, low latency and high response time, all that kind of stuff if you have, you know, a powerful console like this. And then you have, you know, very fast loading times. All that stuff is in the conversation when it comes to Gears 5 on Xbox Series X, as that's what primarily we're going to be focusing on. So first off, we are going to take a tour around the game. We will jump into campaign first, and actually this is an updated build of Gears 5 that's coming out on November 10th along with the launch of the console. And then soon after will be Operation 5. So obviously, I'll provide some links in the description for anyone who's out of the loop about Gears 5. I'll put, you know, links to all the upcoming content and news if you guys are interested in jumping back into Gears of War. Maybe Xbox Series X is your first console back since Xbox 360. Maybe you had an Xbox One and maybe moved to another platform and are kind of coming back into the Gears community. So if so, welcome back. It's good to have you. So you'll notice here we have New Game Plus. This is part of the new content that's coming. We'll open a new save slot here. So what's interesting about this is that you'll see New Game Plus settings in that customization. You have the option to replace Marcus Phoenix with Dave Bautista, who has been campaigning to play Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War movie. Which is cool. So that's optional. You can turn that on or off. If you don't like the idea of Bautista being Marcus Phoenix, which I totally understand, you don't have to do it. So it's just an option for people who really wanted to see him cast in the movie. And then we have, so you can bring your multiplayer customization into campaign as well. And like I said, everything is optional. You don't have to do this. But you'll notice that I actually have Gears 4 JD equipped there. And if I wanted, I could put some multiplayer weapon skins on. But I like things to look sort of campaign and lore accurate, so I would keep it just to the character skins personally. But if you guys want to go all out and put your like animated weapon skins on, you can do that if you want to. So let's just jump here. Let's see the load times. Let's see what the cutscenes look like with the you know, JD in his Gears 4 armor, stuff like that. We're just going to run through the game. I'm going to try and have this video be as one cut as possible. Maybe a couple cuts here and there, but I'm just going to try and show you guys the game for exactly how it is and what to expect when you get the game on launch. So let's start the game here and see what this is all about. So it'll be interesting to see how fast this is. The loading screen, how fast is it exactly? I've only jumped in for like a couple of seconds, so wow, okay, that's quick. So previously on Gears, so this is a breakdown of you know, what has happened since Gears of War 4, getting everyone caught up with the story, kind of explaining to anyone who is entirely new to the series what's going on. So we'll skip this cutscene. This is the one we want here, I think, though, right? Let's see, or is this kind of the intro cutscene? Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, this is the intro cutscene, but then there's this. So we'll see the performances here. Did I switch Bautista? I don't remember if I put Bautista on or not. We will see. So there's Del. You can see a lot of the detail here. All right, there's JD in his Gears 4 armor. So it's be cool to see, like, you know, if you have extremely different skins on.
She'll be ready.
Damn, he looks cool there. I really like the look of that. I know Marcus is in the helicopter with them there, so I'm curious. Did I put Bautista on? I hope I did. But damn, the visuals look crazy good. I'm curious. I don't know if these are real-time rendered cutscenes. I would assume they are. If it can replace... Yeah, it must be. if it replaced JD like that, it has to be. So these are not videos. It's like real-time rendered cutscenes by the Xbox Series X. That's crazy to think about. Oh yeah, there's Batista right there.
Last time you slept.
That's cool. He's done like a full-blown performance for this.
Got a good 8 or 9 minutes in.
That's pretty crazy.
Nightmares.
That's cool.
Does it get better?
All the detail is crazy. So there's actually, I've seen some side-by-side comparisons of, you know, versus ultra settings on PC, and you can see some of the screws in Kate and Dell and JD's armor, that those details aren't there on PC. Now, PC will be getting a patch to kind of catch it up to how it is, but holy hell, man, it looks so amazing on Xbox Series X. And then, obviously, this opening, that looks crazy. It's so cool seeing the Gears 4 JD all lit up with the new kind of technology in there, and Unreal Engine 4, man. It's so cool. And then, so this area, what my point was, is that this area was made to kind of visually impress, right? Even on Xbox One X and the launch of Gears 5, but now it's been, you know, prettied up even more than it was. Like, there's so much extra detail in the campaign. If any of you guys have been keeping up with the coverage from IGN, GameSpot, that kind of stuff, there's been so much work done to kind of, you know, it seems like the team at the Coalition really ran through the campaign, and every little detail they could, they touched it up. Like, there's no, like, flat texture surfaces to the ground. If there's a bundle of trash, it's like a 3D model kind of thing. But anyways, here we are as JD, Gears 4 JD. His facial performance is all rigged up with this skin, which is kind of crazy to think about. You can use anything. There's Dave Bautista Marcus, and then you got all this visual scenery. The lighting, look at the rainbow, all that. And the frame rate is super stable. That's kind of like one of the things, is that even during all this kind of, all this visual craziness, that it's keeping a consistent frame rate, which is what you want. And so one thing is that I'm not really following a script or anything here. I'm just kind of going as I go, as I'm trying to say here. But we have the response time. So one of the things that I love about PC gaming is like the low latency, high refresh rate. And one of the struggles about coming back to console gaming with Gears of War, or any game in particular, was noticing the input, like, response time. It felt like high latency in comparison to playing with a keyboard and mouse on a high refresh rate monitor and all that kind of stuff. But now with Xbox Series X, my inputs are super clean, super responsive. I always thought it was just me struggling with a controller, but it was that on top of having to deal with you know, the difference in response time. And what's also interesting is that, I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but Xbox One consoles have been compatible with keyboard and mouse for the longest time now. And so you can probably hear right now, right? You can hear the clickies. I have a keyboard and mouse plugged in, and you can see like the weapon swaps there. Look at that. And then you can switch back and forth between controller. This is not new to Xbox Series X, but the main reason I bring it up is that the Xbox Series X is essentially like a small PC. It gives you almost the exact same experience. Obviously, if you have a PC, you can go higher than 120. Like I play on 144, but that's so close. It's like, it's kind of negligible. And the fact that it's high refresh rate and you have the option for keyboard and mouse means you can keep up with a keyboard and mouse player who's playing on PC. You essentially have a console that is, you know, it's built to you know, make the most out of this game and for it to be as stable as possible. Like, that's crazy to think about. But let's move up forward here. I'll go back to using a controller so you guys don't have to hear all the clicking and stuff. But we'll go to the first combat area, and then what we'll do is we'll start moving through the rest of the game so you guys can see load times, fidelity, you know, frame rate consistencies, all that kind of stuff. But it's keeping very solid here. I'm hoping that my capture equipment is kind of doing it justice. So unfortunately, I don't think anybody, as any coverage I've seen about this, about Gears 5 on Xbox Series X or any games, is that nobody has 120 FPS capture cards. Is that even a thing? I don't even know. But let's move on through here. and we'll get to some combat and see how it feels. But you know, I always thought that like I was completely done with playing on controller just because of it's funny, I have the option to plug a controller into my PC, but I just never think about doing it just because I enjoy keyboard and mouse so much. But I thought I was done with controller and console gaming just because of how it felt. But now that you have this, it's just it's incredible. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. I'm kind of like in disbelief in a way. Like I was so surefire that like I was just never gonna be on console again. But here I am. Look at this. All right, let's take out these swarms. And let's see. Can I? All right, let's just blast him to Kingdom Come. There we go. Did his friend not even notice me? All right, let's pull down the dynamic cover. We got a guy over here. My aim is not the best, let me tell you. There we go. Still getting headshots though somehow. There we go. High ground. Who has the high ground? I don't see him. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Good call, Kate. Get him out of the way. Let's get you. And then we just have a couple guys to deal with over here. Let's get some Nasher action. That's you. And that's you as well. Perfect. Alright, that's everyone dealt with there. So there's Del. And then we have Marcus Phoenix Batista here. Look at him. Looking super fresh. And then where's Kate chilling at? Oh, she's already over there trying to get business done. She's a woman on a mission. But let's go to the menu and check out the rest of the game, and we can kind of get an idea of what that's like on Xbox Series X. Alright, so here we are back at the menu. So next up, probably the most frequent question I'm getting is for load times when it comes to escape mode. Now, a lot of you will know that if you're someone who likes to grind escape, it can be a bit of a headache in terms of loading times in combination with the unskippable cutscene, which as far as I'm aware, the Coalition has said they are working on something to kind of help us out there. So let's pick a hive. Let's do like lethal engagements, and then we can pick, it doesn't matter who we pick. We can just pick good old Marcus Phoenix. It doesn't really matter. I don't know why. I'm just obsessed with customization and playing with characters that I like. So let's jump in here. I'm not going to do like an official stopwatch or anything like that. Just because that's not really what I'm trying to do here. If you guys want like breakdowns of exact load times versus Xbox One X, Xbox One, and PC, there's channels like IGN, GameSpot, Digital Foundry that are doing that kind of thing. So let's hit the X button and see kind of how quick it is, and you guys can kind of use the video timer if you want to really start set a stopwatch, if you know what I mean. Alright, so this is really where we're going to be doing all of the supposed waiting. So we'll see how quick this is. I did play Gears 5 on Xbox One X and Xbox One S, and waiting here to play Escape was it was quite a wow, that's pretty quick. And the main reason that feels like quite a bit is because of the cutscene. So if the Coalition give us the option to not have that, that'll be insanely quick, I would say. It'll save you guys a lot of time for people who are doing masters runs, jumping in and out, maybe doing a bit of speed running, wink wink if anyone knows what that is. But that's pretty quick. I'm actually quite happy to see that. I personally have an SSD on PC, and it would be pretty similar load times. God, the only thing that okay, so this is the thing that I'll talk about. The only thing that's frequently asked that this game does not have is an FOV slider. That's just something that I'm noticing, just from playing it. Just kind of just entered my mind there. So unfortunately, it does not have an FOV slider, but that's not really the end of the world. An FOV slider isn't necessarily a competitive advantage when it comes to Gears 5 multiplayer or anything like that. It does provide a bit more of a kind of it gives you kind of more spatial awareness and visuals to your left and right, but in terms of, it doesn't, if anything, it makes your accuracy and the consistency of your aim a bit more difficult to work with, because you have to completely readjust how you've been shooting in this game since 2006, if you know what I mean, because the FOV's been pretty similar this whole time. So to suddenly go all the way to like you know, 100 plus FOV is definitely would be a difficult change, but maybe it is an option that the Coalition will bring to Gears 5 in the future if enough people keep requesting it. I think Halo Master Chief Collection has it, and I certainly know that Sea of Thieves has it, so if you guys are definitely vocal about it and really want to see it on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, I'm sure the Coalition will bring that into the game as a feature. But there you go, there's a look at Escape and the load times. So let's look at the rest of the game. Let's look at some Horde Mode and some multiplayer. Alright, so here we are back at the main menu, and the next topic of discussion is going to be Horde Mode. So we'll host a private match here just to see how quick it is to load into a lobby, and for some reason my favorite thing to do is to load up Allfather's Arena. By the way, quick tip in this Xbox Series X kind of review is that if you guys want to do your daily challenges super easily, you can load up Allfather's Arena, and you've really clear line of sight of all the enemies there, and you can get those done super quick. So just load it up privately. If you have some daily challenges to do, you can knock it out in about 10 minutes, which is easy. So just a pro tip there for anyone who's looking to get through their dailies and complete their tour maybe before the end of the operation. So let's hit start here. And as far as I'm aware, the cutscene, or not the cutscene, but the loading screen is fairly quick. So you got to go through this countdown. And then as far as I know, in a private match, it allocates you a dedicated server. So my connection here will be like an element of this load time. So let's see exactly how long it takes here. Wow, look at that. Isn't that insane? That loading screen was there for literally like 2 seconds, maybe not even. That's crazy. Wow. So you saw up at the top middle of the screen, it was kind of like, you know, synchronizing connection and getting the lobby set up. But once it got to the actual loading screen, that was milliseconds, man. That's crazy to think about. And then just like every other part of this game, there is really consistent frame rate. If action gets hectic, there's not really all that much. It's not even all that much. There is no frame dips to deal with. Xbox Series X is just pumping out power, man, which is really nice to see. So let's do that. We'll kill a wave here, and then we can go take a look at some verses. But let's have a look. This is why I really like this map. You just have free reign to do whatever you want. Use whatever gun you need in the fabricator. You know, you can load up a later wave where you have more power, that kind of stuff. I love that I'm giving tips about how to do other things while I'm making a video about the Xbox Series X. Only me can go on tangents, but might as well. There you go. Look at that. Easy. So easy. But that's wave 1. That's how fast it is to get into Horde Mode. Jumping in and out. Look, let's even do this. Let's return to the lobby here. And we can dive into the next portion of our video, which is going to be all about versus. Look at that. Super quick out of the lobby. So let's jump into the menu and let's talk about versus. Alright, so now is probably the big portion of the conversation, which is versus. Well, depending on what kind of Gears fan you are, right? So there's like the hardcore audience that just love the story. They're super dedicated to that. But they don't dive into versus because it's quite a difficult thing to jump into. There's like the hardcore horde only PvE kind of players, and then you obviously have your audience that's just super hardcore into versus, and that's the only reason they hop on the game. They don't even play campaign, nothing else. Gears is like this hardcore community that has hardcore sub communities inside of it, which is crazy. So The important thing about it, about Xbox Series X, for those who are interested in versus multiplayer, and the reason you're probably buying this console is for, you know, the low input, low latency, high refresh rate, high FPS, all that stuff. So what you have to do is you have to go into options, and now, like I said earlier, I have a capture card plugged in right now that's recording this video that only captures up to 60 frames, so that's why it's detecting 60 there. So what you can do is, if I had my console plugged just directly into the TV and the capture card wasn't there, I'd be able to click this and it will give me the option for 120, which takes advantage of my 120 hertz monitor and then enables the 120 FPS, which is such a huge difference. Now, I'm not saying that having this console, it definitely does make a big difference in terms of, you'll notice like the input response time, performance, all that will be super consistent at 60 frames and 60 hertz. But the big selling point, honestly, is the 120 FPS. So you guys may have to invest in getting a 120 hertz monitor. Now, manufacturers are obviously going to be pumping those out because of the new generation of consoles, so stuff like that will be coming down in price. So keep an eye out for some good deals on 120 hertz monitors. You're definitely going to want that if you're hardcore into Gears of War multiplayer and any multiplayer game on Xbox Series X for that matter. But you will still feel all the benefits apart from that frame rate boost when it comes to Xbox Series X. So here in this menu right here, you'll be able to hit A and then you'll be able to select 120. And also in your Xbox options, it also won't be there for me now because of the capture card, but basically you would open your guide and go to settings, and it would show you guys the option to allow 120 hertz and 120 FPS to be enabled across all games that support it on Xbox Series X. So in terms of multiplayer, we're going to throw up some gameplay right now. I noticed myself just the vast difference in how this game played. It was as a PC player, it was honestly, it was quite striking. I kept thinking to myself, like, you know, I did say this earlier, that the lines between console and PC are starting to become a bit blurred now that we have you know, Xbox Series X and 120 FPS and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of now coming to the point where people are going to have to make the decision. You know, anyone who is thinking about upgrading to a PC now has the option of Xbox Series X instead. It's like, for the price, it's actually crazy what it does. Like the fact you can plug a keyboard and mouse in and get 120 FPS and all that kind of jazz, and it's basically like having a small PC, which is so crazy. You have all your fast loading times, and not to mention, this is actually an Xbox Series X feature that I forgot to mention, is quick resume. So while you're matchmaking, let's say you're a high rank and you're struggling to find games, you could actually load up a different game and play that while you're matchmaking, and then, you know, one of your friends could say in your headset, "Oh, we just found the lobby. Let's click back to Gears 5," and bam, you'd be back on Gears 5. It's kind of like how on PC you would have a game open, then you can alt tab into another game and do other things while you're waiting for games. So this console kind of it's having more PC capabilities, and I have to say, as someone who has been playing on PC like consistently for the past 2 years. I've played on PC for a lot longer than that. I had a PC and was still playing Gears of War on Xbox just because that's what I felt comfortable with. But then once I made that transition to keyboard and mouse, I decided to stay on PC. But now you guys have that option of still staying on console and plugging in your keyboard and mouse and having almost the exact same experience as a PC player, which is pretty insane to think about. But yeah, that's pretty much all I could think of, guys. The only major difference between Gears 5 on Xbox Series X and PC is the FOV slider. But like I said, a lot of people ask for it, so I'm sure it will come. It's obviously not confirmed, but it is something that the Coalition are aware of. They're aware that people are asking for it, so hopefully they will deliver that for people that do want it. But I just want to put it out there. It is not a massive competitive advantage to have your FOV high. I just like it because it looks cool, but I had to readjust Like I said earlier, I had to readjust how I aim and kind of reintroduce muscle memory in a different way. So it's kind of like a whole nother learning process to it, but it definitely is. It's nice to have. I'm not gonna lie. It is definitely a nice quality of life thing to have for those that want it. But I think that's everything about Gears 5 on Xbox Series X I could think of off the top of my head. The comparison between PC and Xbox is becoming almost negligible when it comes to just primarily gaming right now. It's pretty cool to see. So if you guys are in the market and you're maybe debating on getting a PC, maybe an Xbox Series X is more in your price range, more up your alley, maybe something you want to do instead. And in the gameplay, by the way, I actually am playing on keyboard and mouse. I did try playing on controller for a bit, but I noticed my shot just wasn't hitting as well, and I had to plug in keyboard and mouse, which is actually something I forgot about until the moment where I realized I wasn't playing as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown and look into Gears 5 on Xbox Series X before the console releases on November 10th and ahead of Operation 5, which looks to be one of the biggest content drops in Gears of War history. So hopefully a lot of you guys will be interested in that. As I said earlier, I will leave links in the description down below for anyone who is out of the loop on Gears of War, who may have, jumped to another platform or just hasn't been in touch with Gears of War in a few years and are looking to get back into things. So hopefully Operation 5 will interest you. I'll be making content here on the channel consistently about all the new stuff that's coming. We have the Gears of War Hive Buster campaign coming in December. There's a lot going on for Gears of War. There's Gears Tactics. That's a whole nother thing. So yeah, Up 5, Gears Tactics, New Game Plus, Gears of War Hive Buster campaign. There is a lot happening. But if you guys enjoyed this look at Gears 5 on Xbox Series X, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss any future Gears of War and most likely Xbox Series X related content in the future. And I will see you guys next time.